Hello Leo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Leo February 2021 Astrology Must Knows. And also welcome if you are watching the new syndicated version of my YouTube horoscopes on my podcast called Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli. So, let's talk about all of the things you need to know as the top list this month. We've got a list of 7 things for Leo must know, so I'm just going to go in order. The first thing to know is that this month is very different from the months leading up to now. From the end of November, all of December, and the first half of January, we were in an epic push forward, which was very different from the prior year before that, which was entrenched in retrogrades and going inward and backward. Plus, we had all kinds of other problems, as you may well remember. But we were in this kind of, until now, we were in this push, get everything done, make up for lost time, everything's finally flowing, let's get going. And now we're back in the inward and backward motion. So it's time to rest and review and take stock of the changes that have occurred, reevaluate things. This is a time, a major must know for this time is that plans made for this month are very likely to change or not happen altogether. Okay, they could also be called into question and wind up happening, but this month is full of uncertainty and things that seemed pretty solid can definitely get cast into question. But after this time, like March, April, and to May, things that were called into question might come back around in a big way. And so there isn't a be-all, end-all as far as, what's happening in February. If something happens and it's like, oh, this isn't going to happen, this is, something you're working on is totally out of the question, that might just be a temporary state for this month. And you might come to see that things that you were hoping for or trying for that seemed like there was no way they were going to happen now, they might wind up happening and wind up being fine because the energies in March, April into the first half of May are amazing. And a lot of those energies are going to be really great for Leo specifically as well. Okay, so just kind of know that as we go through this month because this month is a little bit crunkly. Okay, so retrograde time means things from the past can work out better than trying to push forward new things. It's not a great time for launches or making super big decisions or signing paperwork if you can avoid it or making big commitments because first of all, you don't have all the information. Second of all, people might be purposely withholding information from you. Third of all, you might change your mind. And fourth of all, there are going to be other things that might need your attention than the thing that you think that you're focusing on. Okay, so this month might be full of quite a lot of surprises and leaving it light and as unscheduled as possible will not only help you to show up for the things that will be in your face to deal with, also it will be helpful because retrogrades can bring unplanned magic. I really like this time of thinking of a retrograde as unplanned magic because while plans that are made don't always work out, plans that come out of the blue sometimes really work out in a big way. Okay, so that's a big must know. So the next must know about this month is that Leo placements are going to continue getting this bump from Mars. Okay, so if you are a July born or into the first couple of days of August, then you will have had this bump already in January. For the rest of the sign, so after the first couple of days of August or like 13 degrees through the rest of the sign, you'll be getting this bump. And this is a square, it's a challenging position. Mars is the energy of action, it's the energy of momentum, it can be argumentative, it can be like a male force within yourself or within your life, or like a strong authoritarian energy. And so it could bring conflicts. And it also could mean just something simple as there's stuff that you need to do and you don't really want to do it and you have to have the discipline to do it and Mars is making it feel uncomfortable. It could also mean that this combined with the retrograde could be showing you that the way that you went about doing things before isn't going to be how it works now and that you actually have to reevaluate that, which might mean you might have to do work twice and that could be really annoying. Okay, but after this month, Mars will move into a nice aspect with for your placement, and so you can look forward to that. So any bumps that come along might need you to basically reassess how you're using your energy and use your creative resourcefulness for getting around issues that come up with trying to get things done. And also tune into your intuition because, like I was saying before in retrograde, sometimes the things you're doing aren't supposed to be happening right now. And if you take the sign from the universe, where it's gentle, then it's possible that you don't have to get the bigger bumps, you know, because you get the first nudge, like, okay, stop doing that. Okay, I will. And then it can be as easy as that. Okay, so another major must know, this is our third major must know for Leos this month, is the Sun, the Venus, Mercury retrograde, all are going to be in Aquarius. And as you remember, if you've been watching my videos or if you are paying attention to astrology at all, Saturn and Jupiter are also in Aquarius. So that means the personal planets plus those two outer planets plus the star goddess Pallas Athena are all in the sign opposing yours. Understanding the nature of the opposition is going to really help you understand what this month might be like for you. So opposing forces, something pulling against something you're trying to do, that could be a common theme that could come up. Feeling like you have so many things you have to do, you can't get it all done. Or being pulled this way for one thing and in an opposite direction and trying to please both ends or satisfy both things is a common way an opposition shows up. Also, this can have to do with feeling like people are working against you or circumstances are working against you. Or it could be something really positive in the way that you are working hard with somebody else on a project. And this day and this year, I mean, this month and this year is full of the energy of relationships for Leo, because these outer planets are going to be really bringing your 7th house of relationships into the forefront. So in the short term of this month, February, and the long term of 2021 and even beyond, as Saturn will take longer to move through there, this focus on relationships is going to be really strong. And again, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. This could be a wonderful thing. There are many, many, many Leo placements who will have either already found their perfect partner and are moving forward and taking steps to go deeper into their relationship, or this energy could bring in your perfect partner. So, you know, it is definitely something to celebrate, but it does also show that there is a chance you're going to be working hard on a project with somebody. Maybe the project is you and your partner are trying to have a baby and you're working on that. Or maybe the project is you have a new business partner and you're trying to make something work. But there is a lot of energy showing that there's not going to be any way around really working in partnership with people. And it's possible that your highest expression, your creativity, your things that you want to do in your life can be aided by other people at this time in wonderful ways. And a lot of those people could come from the past. That's how we kind of bring the retrograde back in. So just be looking for that. If you get a nudge to connect with somebody, or someone is like, oh, you should talk to this person and you had heard of them, or, you know, going back to things that you did before, old material, if you are, you know, somebody who is a creator, old material, you could bring it back in a big way now through a new venue or some other way that you've been doing things. Okay. So those of you who are later in the sign, so we'll say like August 11 through the rest of the sign, or like 20 to 29 degrees, you all are going to have a very strong focus still on your health and anything having to do with your managing stress, your body systems, your wellness protocols, your diets, your supplements, medical testing, things like that. Now, if you're in an emergency situation, you have to get testing whenever you need it, or you have a dire situation, or your doctors recommend something, or your intuition tells you to do testing this month and you have to do it. But do know in general that testing that comes in this month might have that Mercury retrograde, not clarity type of situation. So just be aware of that. And we do have clearer stars coming very soon, but it might feel like a long time as we're moving through this energy this month. Okay. So the fourth thing is to mark your calendar for February 11th. This is the new moon in Aquarius. This is a very magical time. New moons are always magical, but this is an especially magical time, not only because Chinese New Year is also at this time, but also because the wonderful Venus and Jupiter connection comes at this time. It's a conjunction, and it's happening in a sign that is, you know, favorable for you. So even though that's something else we need to talk about with these Aquarius placements, that even though they're opposing your placements, and we talked about what that could look like, this is also a sign, an element that's favorable for you. It's an air sign, and all air signs really can breathe life into the fire, fan the flames of the Leo creator, creatrix. So this this is also something to celebrate. You just might find yourself feeling pulled in two different directions, and that's just the nature of the opposition. But having this beautiful aspect this month is just a sweet spot. There are so many things I can remember in my life that have happened, really just wonderful, wonderful memories that will last forever, you know, in your mind, that could happen in the days around February 11th. So just be on the lookout for that sweet spot. And the closer you are to 11 or 12 degrees, so that's basically like the 1st, 2nd, 3rd of August, you know, will be more intense for you. But even like, see, like July 28th through the rest of July, or like through August 8th, anywhere there, you're also more likely to get more of an intense hit. The closer to the first couple of days of August, the more intense, or the closer to 11 or 12 degrees if you narrow placement. And by the way, of course, as always, this video or podcast is for you. If Leo is your sun sign, if Leo is your moon sign, if Leo is your rising sign, each of those charts are all part of your bigger picture. Astrology is very complex, and it goes so much farther beyond your sun sign. That's one of the messages that I try to consistently convey to you, is that we are so much more than our sun sign. You are more than your sun sign in major ways, even though you really identify with it. Looking beyond the charts that are just your sun charts, the solar charts, even for horoscopes or for whatever, can really expand your knowledge of yourself and your active use of astrology. Okay, so also mark your calendar for February 27th. That's when the full moon in Virgo is going to be. And full moons tend to bring drama, for better or worse. And I always like to recommend scheduling a little time off. I mean, I've already suggested that you schedule yourself light this month if possible, to leave room for the magic and also to leave room for things that show up that you have to deal with. But these days around the full moon, so the very end of the month, they might have something that comes from a hidden place that has to be dealt with. Some opportunity or some place where you're shining or shining a light in somewhere in your life that needs attention. And so just kind of be prepared that it might be emotional at that time for you. Okay, so our 6th must know is that, as I mentioned before, this month is all about things being cast into uncertainty and going inward and backward. It's a time for being the spider. The spider weaves its web at the end of November, all of December, the first half of January. That's when I recommend for the spiders to weave their webs. And now from the second half of January through all of February, this is like a time to just fix a little web thing here and there. Sometimes that might be literal, like with your website, but not do all of this active web building unless it's in the backdrop. Like actively working on creative projects, if they're in your flow, are wonderful for the retrogrades. But like forcing things or like trying to take care of big projects, if it's not in the flow, it's not the time for that. It's a good time to wait and see what food comes to you, what plans come to you, what ideas come to you, or go back to the past rather than trying to focus too much in the future. But March, April, and May, this is the second must know here, the first half of May, are all going to be times where you can start pushing out. Okay, so getting in later into March, we have the Aries energies, which are going to be amazing for you, you know, so and just the general like zestiness of action and momentum, clear stars and freedom from the retrogrades. And also April, March and April, we're not too much into the eclipse season, which gets really strong in May into June again. So, you know, it's going to be really nice at that time, and you can kind of look forward to that if things get a little bit challenging in this month, which we're not going to doom you to, because these retrograde energies can just be beautiful blasts from the past, and especially if you align yourself with how the energy is flowing for you. The last Leo must know is that we have an epic outer planet clash of ultimate proportions happening this month in the form of Saturn square Uranus, which will happen 3 times this year, setting a major trend for the storyline of the year. We're not completely unfamiliar with these energies because we did have closeness between these planets in their aspect in 2020. So some of the storyline of what happened there was building and is going to really come into the forefront at this time. And this aspect is so important that I actually did a whole separate video on this instead of just giving a small segment and plugging it into the horoscopes as I do sometimes. It has its own separate video. And for some of the time, I'm going to have it actually following this video that you're watching now. And you can search for it as a separate podcast on my Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli, or you can look for it as a separate video on YouTube, Saturn square Uranus. But you'll definitely want to know what's going on, because it's going to give you some insights into the energies of the year and how you can use them and understand what's going on. So if you would like to have even more information about what this month could look like for you and how you can best use the energies, then definitely tap into all of the free resources I have for you. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. Now more than ever, there are perks that come along with that, because besides getting my monthly write-up that shows the sweet and salty dates and what you can expect, what the aspects are, what you can expect from them, and what the month looks like, all in a written version delivered into your inbox 1 month early, plus my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free, I'm working on having software that will allow you to run birth charts for free. Now, I can't make any guarantees that this will be in place by the time you are listening to this, because it is something I'm working on, but it is things like this that are perks that come along with being on my free email newsletter list. So you'll definitely want to do that at anniehelpsyou.com. If you want simple written horoscopes by me that will give you good details but aren't as technical as some of my other resources, then you can go to my beautiful website, cozybysweetstarlight.com. All of the links that I'm giving you are also in the notes underneath the video. Or if you're listening to the podcast version of this, they're in the notes underneath the podcast. Also, if you would like to have to listen rather than view, if you're driving or if you're not wanting to deal with the mid-roll ads that YouTube is pushing against even the creator's will, then you can check out my new podcast, Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli. The link for that is in the notes underneath the video as well. You can see my free courses at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. That's my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. So besides having free courses, I also have some paid courses. And if you think I go into lots of details with all of the free things I give you, you should see what the paid offerings look like, especially my course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which will equip you to do whatever you'd like to do with astrology, whether it's just help your friends and family and not do it professionally, help your own self-development, or become a practicing astrologer. And I also give information on how to make your astrology practice work financially, because I have been a business coach for a long time too, so that gets worked into the course. Okay, so definitely get my book Planetology if you're a fan of my work and you'd like to go deeper and you'd like to align with the natural rhythms of the universe. That's what this book is about. You can find Planetology anywhere and everywhere. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.